now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Troy Hardy with the Auckland Rugby League, and we're bringing you the live streaming match, round 8 here for the SAS Fox Memorial, as we're at the home of the Bears, Glenora, at Harold Moody Park. Now, if you're in the area, please come down and join us. Tuck shop's open, hot pies and food and drinks are all available as we get ready for today's big clash, and it's going to be a big one as well. Two big packs are going to go at it. Glenora Bears hosting the Otahuhu Leopards, who come across from South Auckland, and will be looking for a really strong performance today. However, Glenora are unbeaten, and they'll be wanting to keep that performance intact as we get ready for today's big clash. Don't go too far away. We have the Safety First Removals interview segment coming up, as Corey Rosser gets to talk to the head coaches from both sides, and we get to find out a little bit about what's happening with both teams, what their roster looks like as we get into, this part of the winter season. As I said, the Safety First Removals interviews coming up very, very shortly. So big thank you to John Kerr, who sponsors that part of the program. And if you're looking to get hazardous, I can't pronounce that too well for today, but anything to do with asbestos, black mold, whatever it may well be, have a look for their services on their website, safetyfirstremovals.co.nz. Back real soon.
Joining me now, Tusa Lafaeli, head coach of the Otahuhu Leopards. Well, Tusa, we're 2 months now into the competition. How do you assess where things are at for Otahuhu so far?
Yeah, 2 months ahead and round 7. So we're building nicely. We've lost 10 players from last year's the depth. Fortunately, we've got good depth and we're building nicely, and we're starting to believe in our process.
Phoenix Hunt, who's been starring the last couple of weeks, I think, for you, former Auckland Player of the Year, both him and Jamal. What's it like having those guys back? I don't think they played much footy last year. How's it been sort of getting them back into the fold?
Yeah, those two brothers, they fit in right. The culture of our type of family culture, those two fit in really well. We're just kind of slowly every game building Phoenix and giving them more time than we started last week. And we saw, I think, 2 tries, 80 metres, and the scary thing, the guys are saying that it's just only going to get better. So we're fortunate and very lucky to have those two guys.
Just had a brief chat with you about the Te Atatū game last week, but sort of what were your impressions of it, and what do you want to see the team do better this week?
Yeah, it was the first game that our boys stuck to our structures and our process, completed sets, and our error rate was a lot better than the last 2 games. But today's game, just want to guys with similar game plan. Just be patient, complete our sets, and hopefully put pressure on these guys and force an error.
You've got a pretty young team. How do you prepare them to come out and face a side like Glenora, who have got some real experience, particularly in the forward pack?
Yes, that's a big task ahead. But we set a challenge for them. As you know, Glenora, I think about 5 or so players are in the Akaranga winning side. They've got great leadership of Chase and all that. So what we've done is, over pre-season, we've got a leadership group. Connor Purcell, Jacob Paulo, Jamal Hunt, Leonard Patello, and Dana Kihua. So those guys play a big part in our team, and just especially the younger guys, and just guiding them and getting them up every game.
Awesome, mate. Thanks for joining us, and all the very best today.
Thank you so much, ARA. Thank you.
All right, joining me now, Danny Bernard, one of the assistant coaches for the Glenora Bears. Well, Danny, we're here in round 8 and you remain unbeaten. How do you assess how things have gone so far this year for Glenora?
I think that just came down to a great preparation in our pre-season. And obviously we've got our senior guys that are still hanging around and sort of want to finish off our season, well, their sort of swan song, through this year. And hopefully that we get Ed on the trip today. And then, we'll assess again from here on.
Rooster goes on the line today. Maybe just take the viewers into, I guess, how much that means to the club and the players. Is it something that gets spoken about a lot?
Yeah, well, the Root Rooster obviously has been around for a long time, and definitely Glenora haven't had it this long. And to come home and have something that's so precious to our rugby league community and to defend it as much as we have this season is truly a great honour.
You take on Otahuhu today, who I guess will have a couple of big name forwards that you know a little bit about, but also a young side. How do you go about, I guess, beating Otahuhu today?
It's nothing specific towards Otahuhu. It's keeping to our own game plan and ensuring that our forwards do their roles and create the options for our backs. But yeah, definitely like you got Connor Purcell and Jamal Hunt, working hard around those middles, and Phoenix Hunt's in the middle as well. So we are aware of what type of players are out there, but we're pretty much prepared.
And look, there's some big names in your squad that we know a little bit about, but maybe tell us a player that's really stood up this year through the pre-season, which you mentioned, and has really impressed, that maybe wasn't on the radar at the start.
Oh, look, I'm not biased, but I do have to look at my younger cousin, Chase Bernard. He's very consistent in his past years, but this year he's sort of leading from the front, and we've moved him to lock position to try and get more game time out of him, because when he's ball in hand and his contact, and surely leads with actions. And then he's got the support of Swapi, Kavaliku, Koma Sampson. So we've got a great bunch of forwards that really got the experience to take it further.
Hey, that wraps up the coverage of the Safety First removals pre-match interviews. Danny, thanks for joining us, and all the very best today.
Thanks, Corey. Have a good one.
So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm with the chairman of the Glenora Bears, John Latali. And John, first time for 2021, new chair at Glenora, mate. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, look, I've been around the club for about over 20 years now, so kind of stepped up last year. It's still got a lot of old heads on the committee, and I guess a lot of work around player retention and getting the right people in the right places. And, interesting.
Also, down here for first time as chairman, Glenora's tracking really, really well. What's the vibe like around the club with you and the senior committee?
Yeah, look, biggest thing is getting a number of teams underway with 3 under 13 sides, a number of girls sides, 3 of them, and them having a pathway for the future to back up the Valkyries, and senior ladies. Huge thanks to the exec committee and Val from the juniors putting it all together. Yeah, no.
Also, mate, you just touched on, how many teams that you have, the under 13s, you've got girls, you've got boys. If somebody was interested in playing down here in West Auckland, with Glenora, how would they get in contact with how we go about, joining up to be a Glenora Bear?
Well, Val's the contact for the juniors, and on our Facebook site there's a link that they can make contact, website and email address for contact people.
Cool. And also, one of the big things too, I think it's also been a success story for you this year is your sponsors. And I know that, you've got a lot of hard work that's gone in the background and bringing on sponsors. So outside of giving them a little bit of love, just want to, acknowledge them and let's have a talk about your sponsors and what they do.
Yeah, we're very lucky that, alongside the player retention, to have, committed locals that, want to sponsor the club. West Auckland Brick and Block Layers Limited, they're a club sponsor, and thanks to Sarah and Ben, huge follow-on from last year. Dynasty Apparel have come on board. We've got Nick Magnus from Magnus Tyres up in Gleneden, and Devesh from Waterview Laundromat.
Good idea, Devesh.
And our 17 jersey sponsors, without their support makes it really tough. But, we had a tough year last year with the season being cut short. So, we want a really good season, get rid of that COVID stuff.
And look, I know that there's always more room for other sponsors that may well be interested in being involved with the local game down here. If we wanted to be a sponsor with the Glenora Bears, who would we get in contact with?
Look, on the ARL site, there's a list of contacts. The club, the secretary would be the first port of contact. We've just had a new sponsor come on board, Wade Construction. They've contributed massively to us, via Tony Benson. They're huge, so huge thanks to Wade Construction for their input and hoping for a long association with the club.
Awesome. Mate, you're hosting us today as well as, the Otahuhu Leopards here. Can you tell us a little bit of what happens in the clubhouse on a home game? Can anybody come down and join, have a meal and a drink? What happens in the club tonight?
Yeah, so the club will be open after the game, after 4 o'clock. We've got the junior prize giving on around that time, and we've the kitchen's open. There's ginormous meat raffles, and the bar's open. And, come and celebrate. I guess a great game of footy is a great game of footy out there at the moment, and moving on to the big one. That's it.
Awesome, mate. And look, and finally, it's a Root Rooster clash today. What's your thoughts on today's game? And you're hoping that the Rooster stays at the Glenora Bears.
Well, yeah. Look, Otahuhu going to be tough. I think they're coming, on the back of, a big win last week. I think it'll be a clash of the bigger forward packs today. Look, it's I'm completely.
You're allowed to be biased, mate. You're allowed to be biased.
Looking forward to an entertaining game of footy. I hope the rain stays away, and I think 2 strong sides. You see some big hits and big body contact.
Awesome, mate. Well, look, on behalf of the Auckland Rugby League, thank you very much for hosting us here today. Remember, folks, if you're in the area, come on down Harold Moody Park. It's all about to kick off down here at 2:30. Oh, yep.
Yeah, look, if I could send the club condolences to the Vaku family, huge loss, and also to the Sampson family. You know, Mum, I think Mum's doing it tough, or the family's doing it tough with. So sending all our love from Glenora out to those two whānaus.
If you're in the neighbourhood, please come down and join us. 2:30 is the main kick-off. As John said, you know, the club's open a wee bit for refreshments later on tonight. Get yourself a meal and a couple of drinks. More importantly, though, get back real soon. We're going to have the kick-off at 2:30 as you join us for the commentary here live today. Harold Moody Park, Glenora Bears hosting the Otahuhu Leopards.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into Harold Moody Park. We are live today for the Round 8 SAS Fox Memorial Premiership clash between the Glenora Bears and the Otahuhu Leopards. The reserve grade game on screen has just concluded, and I think Glenora getting up for a victory in that one. They're travelling pretty well in the reserve grade competition are the Glenora Bears. Around about 10 minutes from kickoff. And as we build up towards kickoff, we'll run you through some of the ladders from around the grounds and also the fixtures and games that are on today. So we'll start with bringing up the Fairly Photos Women's Competitions ladder and have a look at how things are shaping up for the ladies in both the Premiership and Championship competitions. On top is the Manyarewa Marlins. They get up over Point Chevalier in the top of the table clash last week to pull 2 points clear. Tucked in just behind is Richmond, and then it's Ponsonby and Te Aratu right in the chase. Pakuranga, the only team not to pick up a victory so far. And in the Championship, the second tier, it is the Waikato Invasion. Taniwharau, after their success in the under-18s comp a couple of years ago, they sit on top with a perfect record on 8 points. Manukau on 6. Howick, who had a couple of good victories over the last couple of weeks. They sit on 6 competition points. It's Glenora, Manyarewa, Otara, Marist and Tuakos. That's how things look in the Fairly Photos women's competitions. Let's now bring up the Crown Lift Trucks Fox Championship qualifying series. And remember, the magic number here is the top 4. The rest of it not so important. You've got to be in the top 4 to secure promotion into that championship, and it is the Hibiscus Coast Raiders who are the toast of the competition so far on that perfect record, which includes victories over Manukau and Manyarewa. There are 2 nearest ladder rivals, and for Manukau and Manyarewa, that was their only loss of the year. They took care of Manyarewa big time last week, so they're on fire up there on the coast. Manukau and Manyarewa are just 2 wins, or 1 win back, 2 points back, and then it's the Otara Scorpions, Pakuranga Jaguars, Eastern United, Waitamata and Papatoetoe. Bring in TJ Ashford now, and TJ, we've spoken for a couple of weeks about this Hibiscus Coast team. What they did to Manyarewa last week, I forget what the score was, but it was close to 40 odd points. How hard is it to play a team that is maybe a little bit lighter than you and maybe a little bit fitter in some cases when they nail that style? How hard can that be?
Yeah, well, when they are nailing that style, it's very hard to defend, so that's the main thing. And you know, coaching Hibiscus over the last couple of years, and last year in particular, they've got Jeremiah Pye on board as well, so he's a very experienced player, and they're doing all the basic stuff very, very well. So things like the play the ball speed that they're actually winning, so it's quite hard to control that. And when you're struggling to control it, you tend to be on the back foot for most of the games. So look, they're playing some very good footy up on the coast, and without seeing many of their games this year, you just know that they're going to be playing some sort of expansive style of play. So very hard to coach and defend against. Yeah,
and we should note Manyarewa, I think, had a whole lot of injuries last week, which unfortunately is the story for a few teams here. But that's how things look in the Championship qualifying series with a few weeks to go. And I think the only safe bet right now is you think the Hibiscus Coast are definitely going through, and Manukau and Manyarewa, well, they're far from safe at this point, but the way that they've played in certain games this year, you would think they're a pretty good shot. That 4th spot really up for grabs right now, and as you can see, there's really 4 teams right in the thick of it right now. Papatoetoe, the only team yet to pick up a win. Let's go to the ladder for the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. And the 2 perfect teams, Point Chevalier and Glenora, 7 wins from 7 games. Howick suffered their second loss last week. And the Mount Albert Lions tucked in just behind now, but sitting inside that top 4. Crucially for Otahuhu, they currently hold that 5th spot ahead of Bay Roskill, who are on 7 points. Mangere East, Marist, Te Aratu, Northcote, Papakura and Richmond down the bottom. Plenty happening at the top of the ladder, TJ, but if we look down towards the bottom, a key clash today, I think, between Northcote and Richmond, which we'll talk about soon. But that battle, I should say, for the drop, some big-name clubs in that zone right now.
Yeah, there is. In particular, Northcote, they've been averaging top 4, top 5 the last couple of years now. So they're in a different territory to what they're used to playing in currently. But again, you know, we've had a couple big fixtures with Papakura and Te Aratu a couple of weeks ago as well. So they just need to probably string together a couple wins. And when you look, you add Marist in there as well. I know they're sitting in 8th, but they're you know, equal with the bottom 4 point position there in Te Aratu. So every game's going to matter for every single one of them. Looking at the top of the draw, though, as well, it's a big game for Howick this week. I know they've dropped back-to-back games, but their next clash is actually up against Glenora. So if Glenora can get a win today and then back that up again in the following, in 2 weeks' time after Queen's birthday, that means they extend the lead on Howick again in that third position there. So it's an important game for Howick this week.
Yeah, plenty of intrigue on the First Division qualifiers ladder. Let's move now to the fixtures, and we'll start with the Farrelly Photos women's competitions. And no Friday night footy this week, but a couple of interesting games. Manurewa unbeaten take on Pakuranga. That's a huge ask for Pakuranga, who are without a win so far. Richmond taking on Ponsonby, bit of a central Auckland derby, and then Point Chevalier taking on the Te Aratu Roosters. And Manurewa's second string team, their reserve team, really like what's happening with this. They got the numbers there, and nice to see players like Serena Fiso coming through to help out that team as well. They're at Escott Road to take on Tuako. Otara Scorpions play Howick. Glenora takes on the Maris Saints, and Taniwharau takes on Manukau, and in particular, TJ, that Glenora versus Maris game, the Nardine Conlon trophy goes on the line. Nice to see a real trailblazer and hero of the local women's game getting recognised.
Yeah, exactly. Nardine's been a big influence on the women's game of rugby league here in New Zealand, so it's good to have two clubs, or two of her clubs that she's played for, actually show some support behind her and have a trophy to play for. So both teams will be up for the contest on that one.
All right, let's go through now to the Crown Lift Trucks Fox Championship. Manukau are at home to Waitemata. Hibiscus Coast look to keep that unbeaten run going when they take on Papatoetoe. Eastern United take on the Otara Scorpions at Thompson Park, and Te Rakau Park is home to Pakuranga v Manurewa. A couple of big games there, particularly for the Otara Scorpions, who can extend their lead or gap in that top four right now. Huge game as well for the likes of Papatoetoe, who would think would need a victory, and maybe even Eastern United to remain in the hunt for promotion. Let's move now to the fixtures for the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. Round 8 of the qualifiers. Of course, our live stream game is the first one listed there. And then there's a couple of intriguing ones. We touched on it, and we'll explore it a little bit deeper now. Northcote versus Richmond. TJ, we've got to see both of these teams. Northcote probably a little bit lucky in the end to get away with victory last week against Papakura. How do you see this Northcote-Richmond game panning out?
Yeah, very evenly placed sides, these two, so it'll be definitely a tight contest over there at Birkenhead War Memorial. I just feel Northcote's probably got a bit more experience on the park, and if they've got those boys there from last week, leading them from the front, and Eddie Whangota and David Barner, then they'll go a long way to winning that contest out there over the bridge. TJ touched on it, the Howick Hornets. It's a big game for them after going unbeaten, I think, for about the first probably 6 weeks of the competition. They lose to Bayroscal and then go down again last week. So that's a big game for them now. You'd think they desperately need a bounce back. Papakura home to the Mount Albert Lions, who had a pretty rough opening 3 weeks, but have been very, very good ever since. And for me, a big game for the Mangere East Hawks. So they get up last week, a late field goal gets them home against Howick. They take on Bayroscal. This Mangere East team, you just feel like they're hovering on the verge of really being a challenger right now, a chance to make a statement against the Vikings. Yeah, and again, two contrasting styles there for today. You've got a very good forward pack in Mangere East going up against a team in Bayroscal who's kind of shifted their nous of how they're playing at the moment, and they're attacking pretty expansively at the moment. So look for Bayroscal to run that Mangere East forward pack around today, but it's going to be a good clash out there at Walter Massey Park. Point Chevalier are at home in the remaining game, looking to stay on top. They take on the Te Aratu Roosters, who desperately need a result to try and avoid the drop as well. They went down to Otahuhu in a pretty heavy defeat last week as well. So that's how things look. Of course, if you are around, get down and support your local club, and particularly the women's games tomorrow should be some great action on there. You can see on screen the Glenora Bears, who are taking their warm-up right to, I would think, the extremes here. We've got 2:29 by our time, so getting every second in by the look of it. So in the meantime, we'll bring up the team lists and talk you through it, and TJ and I will have a bit of a discussion on some of the key matchups here. Now, there are a couple of changes. Glenora Bears are as named, but Dre Whangapo will wear jersey number 21. That's the only change for them. Otahuhu, well, it's a pretty young team. But really, TJ, when you look at that, the strength is in the forward pack, and it's not just in the starting team as well. We've got that Jamal Hunt will come off the bench. Phoenix Hunt will wear 13 but play hooker. But boy, there's some representative experience in that pack. Yeah, both sides. We were talking obviously before we've come on air, and I definitely think the weather and the style of play both suit the forward pack for both of these teams. So looking forward to a big battle up front. You've got the likes of Jacob Bolo and also Connor Totoa Purcell going up against the likes of Chase Bernard and Swape as well. So that's a massive front row pairing, and I'm quite excited to see the clash today.
Yeah, and that's four of the best in the competition right now. If you're doing a top 10, then I think probably all four of those players are in there. Of course, Jacob was in the New Zealand residence last year as well, and most of these guys have played representative football at some level. Glenora, well, the key men for them, Phil Kingy's back, and we haven't called Phil for a little while. He'll guide them around the park nicely, but the strength again is in the pack. Swape Kavaliku and Chase Bernard. Coma Sampson, who was missing last week following, or the last game we covered them, sorry, following the passing of his grandfather. He adds plenty for them, and TJ, I know you've coached a couple of these guys in the Auckland representative teams. There's a real competitive drive in this forward pack, and it's probably led by a guy like Chase Bernard, who just seems to, you know, he plays big minutes and just seems to want it.
Yeah, Chase was a standout last time that we covered the broadcast against Bay Roscoe as well, so he'll definitely be leading from the front. And again, I had the privilege of coaching Coma back when he was 13 years old on the Auckland rep team as well, so he's just gone leaps and bounds since then, and he's got some experience offshore over in France, I believe, as well. So look forward for him to actually lead this Glenora side as well. Although he might be one of the younger ones in the pack today, look for his leadership to take the boys forward. Yeah,
and the Ioka halves combination is broken up with Phil Kingy's return. It's usually Zion and Cartier in there combining, and Cartier's a guy that we've watched for a number of years, TJ, through Calston Boys as well. Must be huge for a young playmaker to get a chance to play against a guy like Phil Kingy, who's played at representative level with the residents and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it'll be important for Cartier to not go away from his actual game plan as well. So it's easy for him to take a sit back and just let an experienced player like Phil Kingy come in and take leadership off him. But it's important that he still plays on the ball, because he is a bit of a strike weapon, and he's got some really good vision as well. So it's important that Cartier stays involved and sticks to his game plan.
Good to see a couple of our Auckland under-20 players as well, particularly in this Otahuhu team, getting the call up. Soakai Tofa, I know, is a guy that you really rate. Madison Tekiu gets a run as well. But tell us a little bit about Soakai, maybe TJ, and kind of what you like about his game.
Yeah, Sol is actually, he's real versatile as well. He's playing fullback today, but he can play a number of positions out on the backs, and he's a guy that he just won't let your team down. He's a competitor. He's tough. He's got a bit of lankiness to him, but he's very physical, and he'll just be, he's a good player when he's got hands on the ball. So I look forward to him getting plenty of touches today.
So our middle referee today is Joseph Green, as the toss is completed here. Here in the background, the Glenora team song by the sounds of it.
I think it was Otahuhu that won that.
Oh, apologies. There you go. So we've got a moment's silence here, and we'll have to apologise. We weren't briefed pre-game as to what it is, so we'll just disappear from the commentary for a moment and observe the moment's silence. So into it we go. The two teams will swap ends. Joseph Green, one of our top referees in the Auckland comp now. It's been great seeing him develop along the way on his refereeing journey. He has the middle today, and it looks like it's going to be the Otahuhu Leopards kicking off. And Glenora running it back to the car park end here at Harold Moody Reserve. Root Rooster on the line as well. Glenora won that in the opening rounds and have held it since. This will be their third or fourth defence so far. So Lorenzo Filimaue will get us underway. Into it, round 8, SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. A bouncing ball which Dean Cocker-Smith has to take, and then there's contact. Well, put into a dangerous position is the call. I don't think there was anything too deliberate in that, to be honest. Phoenix Hunt's come roaring through, and just incidental contact. Thankfully, Cocker-Smith back up to his feet. So a penalty on the very first set of the game. Beware of the bouncing ball. So into it we go. Tippins shifts on to Suape. Chase Bernard now coming into the play. He's wearing the 10, but will play lock forward. It's in a bid to get more minutes out of him. That's according to his assistant coach and cousin Danny. Tippins now jumps into dummy half. Swings play to his left to Kavaliku. It's prop to prop. Bernard, the pass is low, and as a result put down by the 7, Phil Kingy. And Otahuhu now will turn it over, and they start to ruck this ball forward. It starts with Ata. And now it's Wesley Talti, Phoenix Hunt, who mentioned earlier, wearing the 13. Looks like brother Jamal started as well. Jacob Polo taken down. Smack bam on halfway. Toro Purcell. You could hear the Glenora line calling him out. Connor. It's one of the key men for them to watch today. Hunt then swings it to Filimawa. Last play coming up now for the Leopards. Hunt swings it out the back. Looking to the sky, and pressure on here for Cocker-Smith, who has to take a bomb for the second time today. Gets contact, shakes out of it. And then in the end is taken down to the ground. Well, TJ, the high ball already causing a big issue for Cocker-Smith off the kickoff. They ended up getting a penalty off it. But there is a little bit of a breeze out there today. It's also quite chilly, which makes it difficult.
Yeah, we see a little break here, Corey. We'll just have a little pause on action as Glenora go down the left-hand edge.
Isom Ioka, who is ripped down. And we'll go back to TJ in a minute. A little dummy out of the bottom of the ruck there from Mosiasera. Kavaliku off the back fence. Here comes Suape. Last play coming up now for the Bears. Miss out Bernard. Goes Kingy. To Ioka. Chip over the top. Climbing high, Lua Falialo. It'll miss everyone, but we've got a penalty here. And it's going to go the way of the Glenora Bears, so we'll stay at it as the Bears hunt first points here in round 8 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. Ioka to Coma Sampson, former junior warrior and Auckland representative. The offload is wayward, misses Tippins, and picked up by Cocker-Smith. Kingy going to the line, dribbles a kick in. There's chases there for Glenora, but it's going to be cleaned up by Otahuhu. Back-to-back sets coming up. Nice vision there from Phil Kingy. Had chases there, but they forced repeat sets now, and Glenora putting the early pressure on TJ.
Yeah, that was a bit of an early kick there by Phil Kingy, but it's paid dividends in getting the back-to-back repeat sets. So good vision there, and I think that's, after watching Glenora's last game against Bay Roskill, that was probably something that they struggled on and actually trying to build a bit of pressure. And I felt that they were looking for early points in that game. So it's good that they've learnt from that and looking to build pressure with this big forward pack that they've got.
So Kavaliku will get us going again. That's his third or fourth hit up already. Tippins to a setter, holding it up. Now we've got a pick off from Nick Worthington. Worthington now escaping down the sideline, but that is a textbook cover tackle. Was that Scott Sattler or was that Phil Kingy? Lovely stuff from Phil Kingy there, the veteran half, tracking back nicely and then pulls off a tackle straight out of the playbook there, TJ. You might even put that one in the tackle confidence program.
Man, that was actually a very good tackle. So, and it's not normally that a half runs down a winger like that. So well done to Phil Kingy. And you can, it's early signs there as well. Glenora's already shown their hand. They've gone down that left-hand channel quite often already in the first 5 minutes of play. So hopefully Otahuhu can adjust to that and try and get an extra number there defensively to cover that. And I spoke about this earlier with the young Ioka boy. Hopefully Cartier gets his hands on the ball because he is a very quality player and he has got the ability to change a game, this young fella. So hopefully he touches the ball a bit more.
Utah Ioka to Cooker Smith, who puts it down. And, well, he's gone on with that probably a little longer than he needed to, but cooler heads prevail, thankfully. Dean Corker Smith having a bit of a rough start to the game. But he's class, this kid. He will bounce back, no doubt about that. So scrum to pack down 5 metres short of halfway. Hunt to Tulti. Total Purcell attracting plenty of defensive attention. Jacob Paulo takes them to 20 short of the line. Hunt to his brother, then backdoor. Tolfa shifts play on. Stepping off is Emiliano Michaeli, who's having a good season for the Leopards. Tolfa will clear the ruck. High one, pressure on at the back. Worthington, the pressurer, still last, and Hunt will die on the football there. Good attention to detail from Daniel Really Buchanan to shut it down, but once again that high ball causing all sorts of trouble out there, TJ.
Yeah, those outside defenders for Glenora probably just needed to get a few more bodies around there to protect the catcher there a little bit, but nice effort from the Otahuhu winger. I think it might have been Worthington that came in and tried and took that, but I actually thought that came off a Glenora player as well, so I thought that was back to 1, but Glenora's been able to defend that set of 6 on their try line, so well done.
Here's Bernard. Kingy comes back in to really Buchanan. Oh, slipped awkwardly there. Tippins to Kavaliku. Good run from Swapi and the offload then to Tippins, who is looming in support. Tippins with fullback to beat. Throws the big cutout over to the right-hand side. They've got the numbers here. Chaz Brown, the footwork. Great tackle. Mikaeli, and then with help from Tolfa, the fullback's out of the play. Otahuhu got a man down. They're going to have to survive here. Yorka kicks across field. Way too deep. Boy, exciting passage there. Started off with some nice play from Swapi Kavaliku, but a desperate tackle from Mikaeli, helped by Tolfa out wide, and Otahuhu hold on.
Yeah, nice play through the left-hand flank there by Swapi, and even better support play by his number 9, Zach Tippins. Zach probably, if he had his time over again, he probably would have taken the tackle there. And as we see a slight injury to Salisi. Just twisted awkwardly there, I think.
Yeah, clutching at the back. Waves the trainer off and says we're all good.
Yeah, credit to Salisi Atata there. I think, from memory, I think he's still only 18 years old. So played in our under-20s competition and did well there as well. I had the privilege of coaching him in the Auckland 16s a few years back as well. But very humble kid, great parents as well. So hopefully his career takes off in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think from memory he might have captained the Auckland 18s last year, I think. So things progressing very well for Salisi. As Total Purcell comes at it on the angle, pops a lovely offload, says Swapi. Whatever you can do, I can do better. Hunt goes to his left. Little dink over the top. claimed by Lua Falialo, who goes back infield looking for a gap. Instead finds nothing but Otahuhu jerseys. Mikaeli coming in to finish the job off. Cocker Smith will clear the ruck. Tippins will bring play back to the middle and find Bernard. Phoenix Hunt, who's doing a whole lot of defensive work early on. Tippins widens play, brings in Utah Ioka. Utah finds an offload, goes to Tippins. Dean Cocker Smith looming back through the middle. Look at the footwork from Cocker Smith. Took a desperate covering tackle from Otahuhu to deny him a line break there. Ioka now will look to the heavens. Worthington under it as well as Tolfa. They need to communicate here. Well, no one's gone for it. Bouncing ball. Worthington will clean it up, and we're going to come back for a penalty. Someone held off the ball, I think. We've got time off.
I think the Otahuhu player held someone off the ball there.
Let's have a look. Got plenty on it. And yeah, holding back is what the penalty's for. See if we can catch it in here. And yep, Tolfa has got a fair mittful of Glenora jersey there. But probably saved his team a try in the process.
Yeah, Sinbin probably was saved by the crossbar there. I think if the ball didn't hit the crossbar, it probably would have been a sin binning there because it was a professional foul by Otahuhu's fullback. But I think that's the difference at the moment, Corey. The kicking game's in between the two sides. I think Glenora's having a bit more luck with their kicks than they are for Otahuhu at the moment, so that's the telling difference.
Tippins to Ioka. Nice crisp ball at the line. Lua Falialo looking for a half gap. Fa'afili with the key intervention. Here's Sampson. Still standing. Ball comes out. They look like a strip to me. Knock-on's going to be the call. Bernard pleading his case, but Otahuhu rejoice. They hold on. So 10 and a bit gone here at Harold Moody Reserve, and we're all locked up. The rain holding off for the time being, although it is threatening to absolutely bucket down throughout the remainder of the day. So the Leopards now pack down, and it's Filimaua who's going to pack and feed the scrum. Atata shaking off that earlier knock. Here's Tolti. Gets an offload away. Hunt to big brother Jamal. Totoa Purcell takes Otahuhu to the halfway line. Hunt gets out and runs. Another high one down the way of Cocker Smith. Steady as under this one, then hands off to Lua Falialo, who brings the football back. So a real arm wrestle developing here.
Yeah, a couple Glenora middle forwards a bit slow to get back on side here, so look for either Phoenix Hunt to run a bit more from dummy half, or maybe even an injection from their bench hooker and Madison Tako as well might be prove dividends here for the Otahuhu side.
Kavaliku. Gotta love the Swape step. Tippins to Kingy. Really Buchanan. He gets rocked by Tauti. This time a longer kick off the boot of Ioka, which is going to bounce up nicely for Tolfa. Tolfa breaks the first line. Good return on the kick there from Soakai, part of the Auckland Blue under-20 side. Played a little bit around the park. What was a very talented team there. It was a bit hard to get a run at fullback with Ali Liataua and Nehumi Tiu for the first bit before he was unfortunately injured. Worthington. Big contact there from Tippins and Kingy, and they're still driving them backwards. Great work there from a couple of the more experienced Glenora players. Here's Jake Paulo. Big fan of ours, I hear. He watches all the replays on Sunday mornings. They get to the kick. Cooker Smith allows it to bounce. Brings it back now, looking for a little half gap. Kaeli's been pretty good defensively early on. Here's Isla Mioka, who we don't know as a winger, but asked to do a job there today. Lua Falialo. Kavaliku brings in a setter who then pops the ball out. Yorka spills it. Goes out over the sideline, but once again, TJ, the intent was there. They want to target their left edge and Otahu's right edge heavily. Almost all the traffic's gone down there so far.
Yeah, Swapi obviously identified a bit of space down there. It was actually a nice pass from the big front forward. So it was a nice pass, just probably overran the pass out on that left-hand edge. But again, a couple of drop balls back-to-back for both teams at the moment, so they just probably need to settle down a little bit, get to their kick and keep building that pressure.
I'm sure Swapi and Tony Tuia must have an ongoing battle as to who can do their best to play 5'8" while playing in the front row. They both pride themselves on their skill set. But no coincidence that they're two of the best players to commentate as well. Love watching both those guys play. We can joke around about the more skillful side, but well, two great warriors who have played for so long here in the Auckland competition. It's Jacob Paulo. Back in the competition a couple of years ago after a stint in Australia. Talti. 25 out for the line now, the Leopards. 16 gone here at Harold Mooney Reserve. Hunt plays short at the line and brings in Todor Purcell. In front of the SAS uprights. What have the Leopards got up their sleeve here? Hunt jumps out, he's going to go himself here. Phoenix Hunt beats the first one, but then ragdolled to ground by Suape Kavaliku.
Yeah, I know they didn't get a kick away there, Corey, but I'm still actually happy with that little play there by Phoenix Hunt. And he's turned the ball over 3 metres out from the Glenora Bears try line, so I'd be okay there. If I was Otahuhu, I'd just compress my defence a little bit and hopefully build pressure without getting any penalties away and try and get them kicking out of yardage here.
Yeah, sometimes you can do worse than just being tackled a few metres off the line. So we see Cooker Smith getting dragged back. We saw that with the Warriors last night. Gave away a 7-tackle set when probably could have gone some way to icing the game just by slowing things down. Takes very little in the modern day game to sway momentum. Bernard. Tippins will kick from the bottom of dummy half, a la Cameron Smith. And that is a massive kick. I want to call it a 40-20, it's more like a 45. Huge kick there, but the mistake was in letting it bounce. Fa'afili knows it as well. It's going to be officially ruled a 40-10. So a real chance now for Glenora. Look at the body language of Otahuhu. They're blowing hard. The last thing they wanted was to defend another set. Sampson. Coma charging and pushing through the tackle.
Don't go early, guys. Don't go early.
Tippins to Kavaliku. Suape. He's over. Suape Kavaliki will open the scoring here at Harold Moody Reserve. A monster 40-20 from Zach Tippins. And the big fella takes full advantage with a bustling run under the posts and gets his side the early lead.
Yeah, nice forwards play there by Suape. And as you look at the SAS instant replay, Andy Hay, if you're watching, this try's come about off a spin play. So you'd be happy to see Suape putting a spin play in there and just prove too big and strong. But again, put that down to that effort that was put in by Zach Tippins there, again, that 40-20. And it was actually a monster play because they went 100 metres in that set, obviously, with their kick. And the inability to catch the ball on the full there has proved costly for the Otahuhu side.
For those wondering, Andy Hay, the former head of our coaching and development department, now living over in Germany. We know they love us in Germany, TJ. Mosia Seta to attempt the conversion. Shout out to Waterview Laundromat on the back of the jerseys there. So kick is good from Seta. West Auckland, Brick and Block Glenora Bears 6. AGA Construction Otahuhu Leopards 0. 19.5 gone here in round 8 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership qualifiers. Kingy retreats to get the ball, and here's Paia Manukia off the bench. A very handy weapon to be able to bring off the interchanges, Paia Manukia.
There's Glenora Bears get a penalty there. How about that interchange? You take Suape off and then you bring Paia on. Like, you're just losing nothing in terms of impact and carries there. So I think that may prove the difference in today's fixture as well, as I feel that the forwards on the Glenora bench are probably a little bit more experienced than the Otahuhu pack today. So hopefully Otahuhu can prove me wrong there and bring a decent showing off their bench.
Bernard. Tippins gets out, engages, and then shuffles onto his playmaker. Oh, the offload, well, was brother to brother, but there was no mind reading going on there. Put down by Cartier. A couple of uncharacteristic errors from this Glenora team, who are usually pretty tidy, particularly to start games. Tolfa breaks the first one from Brown, but no such luck. The next one from Bernard. Fresh legs on the park for Otahuhu. That is the 19, Tana Leafy. Jamal Hunt dummies and goes to the line. Almost got the arm free for an offload as well. Quick play the ball. That's a good carry there from Jamal. They'll work down the left-hand side now. Mikaeli with the big step off the left foot, now getting ragdolled to ground, and Fa'afili has to intervene to prevent him from going over the sideline. Last coming up. A dink over the top. There's no fullback home. Cooker Smith goes back. Now everyone's missed it. It's going to be cleaned up. The ball loose and goes to Isom Ioka. And now Isom's breaking down the left-hand side. Ioka puts the big fend on. Cover is coming across. The ankle tap unsuccessful. Fa'afili gets a touch to him. And at the end of all that, a brilliant, brilliant tackle from Otahuhu.
That was Celeste Atata there on the chase back. And man, for a boy that big, he moved quite quickly there. So well done to the young 18-year-old man. That was outstanding.
Tell you what, it was gutsy play from Glenora on their own try line as well to throw the offload there, end-to-end stuff.
There's a bit of shame with the Otahuhu kick chase there. It was a very good kick. He found open space, and there's only one person chasing. And unfortunately, if they had more people there, they probably would have come away with 4 points there. And kick is only as good as its chase score.
So the Leopards survive. Bit of a scare there. And Tulfa, it's backwards, the call from Green. Jamal Hunt. Ball loose. 6 again is the call. Welsh picks it up. Brings play back towards the middle of the park and is taken to ground. So another full set to play with here for Otahuhu. Leafy. Worthington coming in and becoming the makeshift dummy half, giving Phoenix Hunt a bit of a spell. And now a spilt ball. Tolti appealing for it, but nothing coming from the officials. So 24 and a half gone here in round 8 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership qualifiers. And it is the West Auckland Brick and Block Glenora Bears who lead this one 6 points to 0 over the AGA Construction. Otahuhu Leopards. Roof Care, another big supporter for the Leopards as well. Brown. Again, Mikaeli up to make a key intervention. Ioka to Tippins, who becomes the first receiver. Tippins did well to pick that one up cleanly. Utah Ioka.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see off camera there, but Glenora's Dean Coker-Smith just pushing up the middle in support off the ball. Look for him to get his hands on there if there's any late offloads in that contest.
And speaking of late offloads, Brown gets one away to Lua Falialo. Ioka spirals back towards Tippins. Another cutout over the top. Kingy. Kingy will go high off the boot. Worthington's going to be under it. Takes it cleanly. He was surely tackled in the air. Yes, he was. No doubting that one.
Yeah, and Otahuhu look to inject young Madison to go off the bench as well. So look for a little bit of a speed around the ruck there by the Leopards.
Good dominant tackle from Manukia, Tippins and Bernard. Toro Purcell, oh, Mikaeli puts it down. So turnover ball in crucial territory. Now we've got time off. Back on and that's what we go. Manukia. Paya says, I'll have a run myself. 30 out from the line now. The Glenora Bears. Sampson hunting low was Tikel. Bernard. Crabbing across field looking for a little half gap. Ioka to Brown. Brown pops a peach of an offload. But it's called back for Ford. Well spotted by my partner in crime, TJ Ashford. So we've got time off. There's an injury there.
Yeah, good little battle out on this edge here too, Corey. Chaz Brown, obviously experienced centre there, and he's looked to do that in an away play a couple of times now, and unfortunately didn't execute well enough on that play. But I think Mikaeli's also been defending quite well. Although he dropped the ball there, he's actually been defending quite well today as well. So nice little battle out there on that right-hand Glenora edge.
Yeah, of course, Chaz Brown was pretty impressive, wasn't he, the last time we called him against Bay Roskill. Caused all sorts of issues down that edge.
Shout out to one of my good buddies on the screen there as well, wearing the bright yellow T-shirt, Paul Fasiahi. Good to have you out there, Paulie, man, and still running around. I think you're, what, 55, 60 years old now, mate, so good to see you still running around like a young fella.
What a stitch up, Paul. Don't worry. I'll stand on his foot at some point throughout the call. So scrum set to pack down. Not sure who the injured player was down on the right-hand corner. So time goes back on. And it is Fa'afili who makes his way from the field. So unfortunate. That looks like the end of his day, and this will cause a reshuffle for Otahuhu in the back line. Now, Sean Motumoave is the most obvious one who could probably move around. So we'll wait to see how that all plays out. Shame for that edge as well, because they'd actually been doing pretty well. TJ touched on Mikaeli earlier, fairly part of that edge combination, which had been holding up okay. Tako clears the ruck. Flat pass from Tako. Last coming up now for the Leopards. Tako swings it wide and it's drilled long. There was a hit, which is deemed legal. Luafalialo picks the ball up and will run it back now. Decent kick chase that time from the Leopards though. Cocker Smith to Brown. The outside backs getting involved now for Glenora. Tippins. Faimani onto the field as well. New legs for the Bears as Tippins jumps out. They're 30 out from the line now. Last play coming up for the West Aucklanders. Cocker Smith to Kingy. A high one. It's an uncontested catch and Tolfa eats that one up. And then is promptly taken down by the chasing Glenora side. What an arm wrestle we've got going on here. And that looked high. Yep, it was called accordingly as well. And then a bit of push and shove. Nothing too much going on there. It was the 14 for Otahuhu, Motu Moave, who was caught high. Background there, ARL Director Evelyn Brooker, here to present the Root Rooster to the winner. Leadfeet leaves one on the ground. What a carry. Penalty off the back of it as well. I'm guessing that was for the strip.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity for Otahuhu. I don't think they've actually been inside Glenora's half all first half attacking, so I'll be interested to see what they can throw at them. And They still got the likes of Connor Purcell out there as well, and another man who's been playing big minutes is Jamal as well. So look for those boys to get their hands on the ball down here.
Here's Paulo, gets things back underway. Interesting to note, Nick Worthington's taking all their kicks for touch and then sprinting over to the sideline and retrieving it, which you don't see too often. The winger taking the kicks for touch. Tako. Hunt. Backdoor, Tofa chiming in. Tofa now with options, puts the fend on, gets low, and does well to stay in the field of play. Yeah, that was a little bit too much there from the Glenora defence. So Otahuhu now with a golden opportunity. 32 minutes gone here in round 8 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership qualifiers, and a full set about to be utilised here for the Leopards.
Yeah, nice shift play there by Otahuhu. I just feel like they're a bit guilty of playing too sideways before playing direct. So even on those backdoor plays that they're throwing, they still need to square up that defensive line and try and get someone to bite on those plays. But it's quite easy for Glenora defending. All they need to do is slide off. So they need to play a bit more direct, Otahuhu.
Tako, it's a dodgy old pass. Jamal Hunt runs it back, taken down in front of the SAS uprights. Tako decides to go himself. No breaking down the wall of blue so far. Is that about to change? Paulo becomes the makeshift dummy half. Goes to Welsh. Looping ball over the top. Mikaeli looking to sum things up, but there's Glenora jerseys everywhere. Tackle still up their sleeve here for the Leopards. Ball loose, and that's just good defence. Well done, Glenora Bears. Stood strong on their line, and Otahuhu really just struggled to get any sort of rhythm going there, didn't they, TJ? It looked a little bit stop-start.
Yeah, it was a bit of a disappointing attacking set there by Otahuhu. And again, if you can't score points, then you just need to look to put the ball in the end goal and try and get a repeat set and build a bit of pressure. But I just feel like they're trying to go away from their strengths in their forward pack, but they're trying to go around people where if they play through the middle, just get a couple 2 or 3 passes in between those big middle forwards and try and get some one-on-one opportunities. And you may not score off those, but you can also play off the back of quick play the balls. And when you've got someone like Madison Tako or Phoenix Hunt as your dummy half, that's what you want to try and work towards.
Tippins to Mosia Serra. He's played mostly on the wing, but has been used at centre for the last few weeks and playing very well. Manukia jumps out of the first contact. Interesting to see. I think both of the Otahuhu starting props still on the field.
Yeah, their middle 3 forwards are still on. You've got Paulo, Connor, and also Jamal on there as well. So they've been playing some big minutes so far.
So another kick, I think, from inside. Outside is the call. But a pretty good tactical option nonetheless, and they make the Leopards now work it back off their line again. We've got 5 minutes remaining in this first half, and it's been a funny old one. Certainly the lowest scoring game that we've covered so far, but one for the rugby league purists, I dare say. Certainly enjoying the arm wrestle here, and a bit of a game of chess going on right now.
If I was the Leopards, I'd still be quite happy with the first half. They haven't had many opportunities on that goal line there attacking to try and get points. So they've defended quite well. The game's been played in between, the middle of the field at the moment. So I'd be still quite happy. They just got to, run with these last 4.5 minutes. Hopefully get away with no drop ball and turn the ball over on the right end of the field.
Tulti. Nick Worthington coming in for work. He's been busy today, the right winger. Kick from inside and takes a bounce. I don't think it's a 40-20, just short.
Connor Purcell asking for a 40-30 there. Well done.
A big set coming up here for the Leopards.
Good here, guys. Good.
As TJ touched on, I think we'll be pretty happy to get to the shed 6-0 down, just given that Glenora have certainly enjoyed the better of the good ball. Cocker Smith. Setter fighting for a quick play of the ball on halfway. Bernard goes himself, had Faimani on his shoulder, elected not to use him that time. Tippins to Manu Kia to Really Buchanan.
Yeah, that's the play I think Otahuhu need to do, Corey. Play between the middle forwards there with a bit of ball playing ability as we see a loose ball go to ground.
Cocker Smith scoops it up. Half break from Cocker Smith, who's now a foot race, and Dean Cocker Smith, one to beat, does so and scores. Well, a bit of individual brilliance from Dean Cocker Smith. It came from broken play. Looked up and saw a little half gap, and then from there, fast enough and skillful enough to go over the line. Glenora with a chance to double their lead.
Yeah, as we look at the assistant replay there, how many times do we see, Corey, when a loose ball goes to the ground and points come off the back of it? And again, you know, Dean Cocker Smith is a quick individual, so he just managed to beat Otahuhu's number 6 there and find some open space. And again, putting the ball in 2 hands there, making it a little bit harder for Otahuhu to know what he was doing. And well done, great put down there, and nice 4-pointer for Glenora right on half-time.
You can see Connor Toto Purcell there. I think the last thing he wanted to see was a fullback running at full speed as he looked to come across and cover defence. But nicely done by Dean Cocker Smith. So Mosia Serra just on half-time with a chance to make it a 12-point lead. Just away to the left. West Auckland, Brick and Block Glenora Bears 10, AGA Construction, Otahuhu Leopards 0. That gets us to half-time, a short break for us. We've got some highlights for you at the break. Back in about 10 minutes' time.
See a nice little break there by Albert Talakai.
Albert Talakai down the right-hand side. Numbers coming across. Albert Talakai. He's broken 1, 2, 3, 4. I lost count, but it's a try. And Albert Talakai with a barnstorming effort to get Northcote back into this one. They're on the board. 6 points to 4. 10 gone. Vale. Tapau. Tapau goes backdoor to Levita. Had Bill Koto on his shoulder. Levita's going to go himself. Levita! Nicely done in the end. Looping ball over the top. Levita misses out. Timothy Cook with the footwork. Morgan Timothy Cook reaches down and I think has scored. Arkin points to the spot. Morgan Timothy Cook. They miss him. Instead go to McIntosh. McIntosh at the line. Brings in his back rower. Tapau! Robert Tapau. Kick to come. We'll have a 10-point ball game here. Tolavai makes no mistake from in front.
I mean, as we see,
straight through. Right into Paya. Takes it right to the end, a la David Peachy. Whoever wins it, it's going to go a long way to securing safety.
Timekeeper's out with the hooter there, Corey.
Tapau with the strip, it was 1-on-1. Northcote will win. The siren goes, and the Northcote Tigers secure a huge victory in their quest to remain in the First Division. It's the North City Reinforcement Limited Northcote Tigers 22, GJ Gardner Holmes Papakura Seagulls 18. Joined by Ruben Tolovai, now captain of the Papakura Seagulls. Well, Ruben, unfortunately a familiar tale for you guys. Close, but just not quite close enough today.
Yeah, definitely let ourselves down. Wasn't good. Dropped too much errors, I think. Cost us big time. Yeah, it's not good.
A number of penalties off the ball as well, mate. Is that a bit of a concern, the discipline just letting you guys down a little bit right now?
Yeah, definitely. We've been trying to work on our discipline throughout the last 5 weeks. I think we were getting pinned too much times. So definitely a work on for us.
Now joined by Eddie Whanota, coach, captain, I should say, of the, you can coach as well if you want, captain of the Northcote Tigers. Well, Eddie, a nail biter there. What was going through your head through those last sort of 10 minutes?
Man, honestly, I was just trying to say complete all the time. But, man, they credit to them, they came strong. And they shocked us in the last 10 minutes. So, I mean, I think for us, it was just trying to get completing every set at the back of everything, which we weren't. So, yeah, they just came back and just sort of almost got us. So, yeah, really surprising, though. Really surprising.
It looked a tale of two halves, really. I mean, what changed so much at half-time there? You were on top at first, but then just seemed to fall away.
I think, to be honest, I don't know what's happened, but I think the boys took it a bit lightly coming in at 22 and 22-6, and sort of when they came back to us, it was just, we sort of relaxed a bit, and that's something we need to fix. And when we go up to top teams, we can't rest like that, because otherwise we'll get rolled.
We've got your back.